Hi, I'm Alyson from See Yourself Coaching and Alyson Knows It All. Welcome to my brand new series, Tarot Club, where together we will be going through the symbolism and meaning of the tarot deck one card at a time. This is episode 1, but the deck actually starts at 0. So if you're opening a brand new tarot deck today for the first time, this guy is probably the first card you're going to see. You'll see he's got a 0. Now, the cards numbered 0 through 21 are called the major arcana, and these reference bigger life events, bigger shifts, changes, longer timelines. So that makes sense that the minor arcana would be more subtle shifts, more day-to-day experiences. And those are split into 4 suits, similar to playing cards, except they are swords, wands, cups, and pentacles, which, depending on the deck, you may see them reading as coins or pence. But don't think that you need to have that all memorized right now. I'll fill you in as we go. So we are starting with the major arcana, and these are commonly referred to collectively as the Fool's Journey. I want to provide a little insight into the traditional meanings of the cards, along with a little bit of my take as well. Now, I am a firm believer that with time and practice, the cards will come to mean something specific to you, and it may not necessarily align perfectly with the traditional meanings, and that is 100% okay. To me, it's important that you follow your insights, your inspiration, your perspective, rather than trying to memorize or fit your life's experience into someone else's framework. With that in mind, I will probably have more questions for you than I will provide solid answers. If you're not following along with a deck in front of you, I will put a card up here and you can pause this video if you need to. But what is it that you're seeing in this card? Start to take a look at the pictures, the figures, the colors and symbols, and try to start to make a meaning out of this. What kind of stories or even phrases or impressions are coming up for you? Based on the fact that this card is called the Fool, you might already be making assumptions that this guy is indeed foolish, immature, or unprepared. Or maybe you see him and you applaud him for his fearlessness or sense of adventure. Again, I want to pause and say the symbolism in tarot is hundreds of years old, but you can still take it to mean whatever. Taking this card, for example, what does the white sun and yellow sky mean to you? I do take the more traditional meaning that this is a morning scene. This guy woke up today and said, hey, I'm going on an adventure. Let's put on my fabulous floral tunic, put this feather in my cap, let's grab a bag and let's go. Totally unprepared for travel in the mountains, but he's ready to do it. Now, based on the other cards in a reading, your intuition, your perspective, you might see that differently. And even when I'm reading this for myself or someone else, that meaning is going to vary a little bit, again, based on the other cards and just my knowledge or sense of the situation at hand. So, like everything in this world, everything's made up. There are no rules. It doesn't matter. Take these cards to mean what they mean to you. Having said that, here's what I have to say about the Fool. So again, we're looking at the 0. That can resemble an egg for some people. We don't know what's in an egg until it hatches or it's cracked open. Okay, I know there's a bird in there, but we don't know like what bird. So just let me have this, okay? So this Fool doesn't really have a discernible like personality yet. And he's the embodiment of immaturity. I don't mean like fart jokes, but not mature, not fully grown, undeveloped, and innocence. Also the picture of a new, fresh beginning. We can see it's a blonde man, probably. Maybe it's not a man. I'm going to go with man for now. He's giving main character energy, right? He does not care about anyone else. He has nothing else on his brain except him and his own experience. He's so self-absorbed. He's about to step off a cliff, like da 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 da. I'm not looking where I'm going. Look at all the pretty scenery. He is not focused on anything except himself in the present moment. And he seems excited and even energetic about what's to come. Now, there's another figure on this card, and it's the little white dog. Is this dog also excited to be on a journey? Did someone say walkies? What is he saying to the fool? Is he warning him about the cliff? Or is he like cheering him on the way? Maybe this isn't even his dog, and dog's just along for the ride, waiting to see what lessons this fool's gonna trip into. You know, we could even consider that the fool knows the cliff is there. He's just decided that the scenery is worth the risk. And that's the difference between ignorance and trust. So something for you to ponder on. If you're into journaling, maybe go grab a notebook and pen. Where in your life are you at the edge of a cliff? And what is the little dog saying to you? So we've looked at the two main figures on this card. Let's zoom out a little bit and see what else we see in the picture. So we see the mountains in the back, and they, to me, look very treacherous. Icy, cold, forbidding, very intimidating, right? But they're also kind of far away, so maybe we're not too worried about them yet. Something to consider, right? A moment ago, I mentioned the sun and the yellow sky. Again, I take this to be the traditional meaning that this is a morning scene. Now, if we look at the fool, he's moving from the right side of the card to the left, and the sun is behind him on the right. So if this is a morning scene, the sun is rising in the east, or the right side of the card, and then this would symbol like a full circle, morning to night, birth to death, complete cycle, beginning to end. So as I said at the beginning, the major arcana is called the Fool's Journey, and so this is him setting out on this trip that's going to take him beginning to end. Now, the sun is also known for warmth and giving energy to everything on the planet. And if you've heard someone say that they have a sunny outlook or a sunny disposition, this means positive, hopeful, and maybe even inspired. So we can zoom back in now and take a closer look at what the fool is wearing and what he's got with him. So I'm going to start with the most obvious, which is this fabulous tunic. This is not a Columbia, Patagonia, North Face jacket. This is a floral, flouncy sleeve shirt. It's not giving practicality. It's giving fashion, right? He chose it for the aesthetics and not for its wicking or air cool technology. Now, he's got a few white pieces on him. He's got a white undershirt and he's got the white rose. In tarot, white usually means innocence, purity, cleanliness, and I am not here to perpetuate a white good, black bad binary. I'm not here for that, and that's not who I am. I'm sharing with you the traditional tarot meaning, but again, I will continue to say it. You have to take these to mean what it means to you. So if white to you is not good, pull that thread, run with it. Especially when I see a white undershirt, that to me is always like grungy, kind of grayish, dingy, smelly pit stains. So it's interesting to have a white undershirt with this fabulous black, red, yellow tunic. When I say that, what pictures pop in your mind? What scenarios or stories can that tell you? So I talked about the white undershirt. He's also got this white rose, which he's kind of not very carefully holding on to. He's not like protecting it. He's just being very free with it. So it's like he doesn't value the beauty of this rose or what it means. And I take this rose to be some sort of natural talent, gift, skill that he has, but maybe he's not aware of it yet. So again, he's flinging it around with no sense of value. Now on his head, he's got a red feather. So there's a couple pieces here. So red typically means desire, and it's not necessarily lust or sex. It just means something that you want. It's on his head, which combined with the fact that the feather references the element of air, it's kind of referencing thinking, higher knowledge, higher consciousness perhaps. And you can't see it on the card that I have. If you have a universal Rider-Waite deck, The colors are enhanced so you can see it better, but he has a green laurel wreath on his head. And if you're not familiar, this is what they would give to ancient Olympians instead of what we give them medals now. So these were conferred on someone that had achieved something great, a great scholar, a great leader, a great athlete. Not like, oh, you passed your spelling test. Like, you had to achieve something meaningful to earn the right to wear this laurel wreath. That makes me stop to think, why is he wearing this feather? Which the feather, by the way, could also be a symbol of the phoenix of transformation. Why is he wearing these things? So with the feathers, you've probably heard the phrase "a feather in your cap." That's referencing a an accomplishment of some sort, and it comes from a few cultures that the warriors, when they would slay an enemy, would add a feather to their helmet or their headgear for every enemy that they would take out. So the Fool, he's new here, right? I don't think he's had time for any accomplishments, much less slaying of enemies. So this begs the question, why is he wearing this feather, this laurel wreath? Is he seeing other people wear these like, oh, that looks cool and it goes with my shirt, so I'm gonna wear those? Or did the artist and creator of this deck put those on his head, showing that he is destined for something great? And can we talk about these boots? These boots, they crack me up. In fact, they remind me more of the knee socks that I used to steal from my dad every week when I was going to the roller rink as a teenager. But again, this is looking like he chose these for the style and not for practicality. The yellow on these boots, again, is maybe referencing the sun, strength, masculinity, confidence, also like intellect or optimism. You'll see that he's carrying a bag on a stick. You might call it a bindle or a knapsack or something else. And we could kind of equate it to what we call baggage nowadays. These are the things that we learn as we grow, and it's stuff that we kind of carry and hold on to from the past that maybe we should have set down at some point. But the Fool is, again, he's a newbie. He's a fresh young lad, and he probably doesn't have much to take with him, and that's why the bag is so small. It's probably just like some underwear and a stick of deodorant, maybe some shiny rocks he found. Now, what's interesting is that there's a symbol on this bag, and of course my more practical side wants to say it's just the closure, it's just how the bag is tied up. But of course the artist of this card, she's not going to put something on there without some kind of meaning. It's very difficult to determine what it is based on the card that I have, so I did a little research, and I'm understanding that it's a symbol of an eagle. Now, eagle, feather, these all represent air, and again, more lofty things, higher consciousness, higher even spirituality. I also learned that the eagle is like a higher octave or a higher step up, a higher level up from the Scorpio energy. Now, scorpions live on the ground, so they're more representative of earthly things, earthly thoughts and emotions. So this eagle with a literal bird's eye view is representing the more spiritual aspect of the Fool. And he can also be seen as something of a protector or someone watching over the Fool. So the stick or whatever is holding the bag, this is similar to, but not identical to, the wands that we'll see when we get to the minor arcana, but they can still kind of have a similar meaning, which is willpower, which is or something to aid or help you. And similar to the rose, he's kind of holding on to it a little carelessly. Like, again, he doesn't value what he has, whether in the stick or the bag that he's taken with him. So what other tiny details do you see on this card? Is there something I missed? So let me know in the comments what you see and what that means for you. Now, going outside of the card, some things that are not pictured. I've mentioned a few times the element of air with the eagle, the feather, having things on his head. These are all representative of air, the air elements, air energy. And this is the breath of life, creative spark. Again, something new. And it's thinking, it's communication, it's freedom and movement as well. Now, the traditional astrological association for this card is the planet Uranus, which is kind of a rebellious planet, and it's known associated with sudden or unexpected changes. It's also the ruler of the sign of Aquarius, so the Fool kind of gets those aspects as well. And Aquarians tend to be curious, unorthodox, non-traditional, move to the beat of their own drum, and that's very, very Fool coded, right? So we've discovered a lot of puzzle pieces here. Let's put them together a little bit. When you get the Fool in a reading, what does it mean? So the card usually brings a new beginning, fresh start, new journey, new cycle. Now, I love this card in my coaching practice because I think this is a great card to explain to my clients. A lot of them, and I'm not saying they're foolish, immature, I'm not being mean here. I'm saying this character is one that we can admire, that he is living life without the constraints or baggage that most of us have picked up over the years. You know, as kids, we're told we can't do this, can't do that. Maybe your parents have said like, oh, you can't be an artist for a living. You've got to have like a real job. Or maybe there's things that you picked up like your parents didn't have money, so you think you can't either. As we grow, we get set in our ways and our jobs and responsibilities, and we get to the point where we think we can't change our lives, that we can't affect the course of our future. And the Fool is here to tell us that we've been wrong about that. So here's a prompt for you to consider, maybe journal about what constraints are in place in your life. Are they real? Are they inherited from your parents, childhood, culture you grew up in? Or maybe there's something that you picked up about yourself along the way that you're telling yourself you are too shy to do XYZ, or you could never start a business, you could never start a YouTube channel. What constraints are in place, and are they real, or are they being carried from some past version of yourself? And now the Fool believes that anything can happen. He is boldly going out there like, I don't know what I'm going to find, but everything's going to work out perfectly. He doesn't have evidence of this. He's moving with that confidence, without proof that he's going to be safe, that everything's going to be taken care of. But this is something I talk about often. I see so many women that are waiting for some signal or feeling to take the next step, to pursue that career or a raise or starting a business or starting a social media channel. Whatever it is, they're waiting for someone to give them permission or some feeling in their body to say, okay, now I'm ready. I'm sorry, that feeling is probably not coming. You have to take those first steps without knowing what's coming, without whether knowing it's safe. Confidence comes after doing those things that are intimidating. That feeling of rightness doesn't happen until you've started taking those steps forward. So now consider, what would you be pursuing if you didn't stop to wait for that ready feeling or that permission? Starting something before you feel ready isn't foolish, and it's actually how this whole soul journey goes. You have to start at card 0. You can't skip ahead to 21. And the Fool doesn't even know how the story ends, right? He just knows that he is starting and he's on his way, and come what may. Certainty, a solid plan, blueprint, none of these are a necessity for getting started. What have you been waiting to feel ready for? And what would it feel like to step out at 0 instead of waiting for like card 10? The cliff isn't the danger here. The danger is standing at the edge of the cliff. You've got your bag, you've got your flower, you've got your dog, but you can't make yourself go. The women I work with aren't necessarily afraid of failure. They're afraid of people seeing them take that first step. Because society tells us, don't let anyone see you take those first steps. Don't let anyone see you stumble, make a mistake. Like, go get education, get credentials, get experience, get permission, and come back and, show us card 10. But I want to tell you that starting at 0 and letting other people see you take those first wobbly steps, not shameful. Starting at 0 is not shameful. Let's view this cliff as a threshold instead of a big scary thing that's going to fall and probably hurt you. It's a threshold from the woman you have been into the woman that you're dying to become. Whew. Okay, got real deep there. Let's have some fun. I want to look at some other decks and compare how other artists and creators are interpreting the Fool and then display them for us. So first off is this Tattoo Tarot card. And I do love this style of imagery. I feel like in readings, this deck is a little on the brutal side. And this Fool is pretty different from the one we were just looking at. He seems a lot more arrogant and less lighthearted. There's nothing on his head, which I think is an interesting choice. I also don't see the mountains in the background, and he's not really in danger of falling off a cliff. But the dog is still there. The sun is there. He's got 2 bags instead of just one, but one of them seems to be on the ground behind him. Like he's decided, I don't need this. I'm going to leave it behind. And so that's interesting to consider what that could mean for you and your situation that you're reading for. Next up, oh my gosh, I love this deck. So this is the Santa Muerte deck, and I just think it's so gorgeous. I could just stare at these cards all day. Again, this is different from the original Fool that we've been looking at for most of this video. Again, not really in danger of falling. I don't think. He does seem to be climbing up a mountain. And behind him is this like city cemetery scene, just like gravestones and statuary as far as the eye can see. I love that he's got a butterfly with him instead of a dog. Butterflies and moths are very important and central to this particular deck. And he certainly seems captivated by her beauty, right? Now this Fool does have something on his head. It's a sombrero, of course, and that is a symbol of Mexican culture. Now there could be additional symbolism that I'm missing here, but let's try to think about, why is he wearing a sombrero? Is it just a symbol of Mexico, of his culture? You know, I feel like a skeleton doesn't really need protection from the heat and sun, so it's not like a physical symbol. It's another one of those things where he's seeing other people wear it. Is this just a decorative choice that the artist chose? I don't think that's the case, but let me know what symbolism I might be missing here. He's also got a colorful serape on, which I do love. Also want to point out that he's carrying some baggage here, a little bit more substantial than the original Fool. He's got this busted luggage or suitcase with the heart on it, and it's got, I see the butt of a rifle, I see the neck of a guitar, and part of an anchor. So there's a lot of symbolism there to sit through and unpack. Next, I'm looking at a card from the Wild Unknown Tarot. I love this deck, and this artist especially has intentionally left a lot of room for interpretation, not just with the Fool, but the entire deck. And I think it's so sweet that we've got this little bird on a naked little branch ready to take that first scary step to try to fly. And I love that his little foot is out there like testing the water, like, what's this gonna feel like when I'm not standing on this branch anymore? What's it gonna feel like to fly? And I feel like that's a very nervous, excited, hopeful feeling. This card also to me is giving more evening vibes, but again, this card is super open to interpretation. Lastly, I have something that is very different from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This is called the Heart. This is from the Body Tarot, and I find this so fascinating. So the label on the bottom, it's got the fire, the symbol for the element of fire, which is more appropriate for the heart than air, I think. But it also is labeled self-care. And I found that so interesting. And I had to I actually went to the booklet for this one to see where the creator was coming from. And so she was saying that the heart pumps blood to itself first to nourish that muscle before it could then pump blood out to the rest of the body. And that is absolutely the ultimate self-care, right? It's giving, you can't pour from an empty cup. It's giving, put your own mask on first before helping others. Self-care is not a foolish activity, it's foundational. And I love it. As you learn tarot, you're going to start to see these patterns and symbols in the world around you, right? And so I thought, what better place to look for the Fool than in pop culture? And so I wanted to share with you some characters that I thought of that kind of match the Fool's energy. Buddy the Elf, absolutely, right? Shows up in his green elf suit, not concerned about what other people, coming through that tunnel, like ready to tackle New York City and find his dad. Luke Skywalker, Forrest Gump, Alice in Wonderland. Talk about packing light. She doesn't even get to bring anything with her. She just tumbles down that hole and has to kind of just figure things out as she goes. Elle Woods is another great one, showing up to Harvard in a pink suit and doesn't let anyone else's opinion change the way she thinks about herself and how she presents herself. Who else can you think of, characters or maybe even real people, that symbolize this Fool energy? I'd love to hear what you have to say, so share it down in the comments. Fool is on a journey, and what is a road trip without a road trip playlist? So let's put one together for this guy. I'll go first. I've got a couple of great ideas that I wanted to share with you. So I've got Free Fallin' by Tom Petty, Send Me On My Way, Rusted Root, Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves, and one that's not quite a direct correlation, but the quirky vibes I think just fit, and that's Birdhouse in Your Soul by They Might Be Giants. I know there are probably tons more songs out there, so let's build this playlist. Go to the comments and let me know what songs you think would be a great fit for this guy. So 2 more things before I go. I want to touch on reversals. If you're new to tarot, you may have heard of reversals and they sound a little intimidating. What this is when you lay out the cards and one or more of them are upside down and not facing you. I would say to beginners to focus on learning the meanings of the cards right side up, normal meanings. I think that'll be the most benefit to you in the long run. And I'm going to touch on that more in a second. But there is a rule of thumb with reversals that it's generally a flip-flop reverse, Uno reverse of the upright meaning. Having said that, though, I want to give you a few examples, like for the Fool. So with that, the Fool reversed could mean more of an emphasis on the risky, reckless behavior of this immature person, or alternatively, it could mean that he's not being risky or reckless enough. He's being too conservative. Now, on the subject of learning cards, my suggestion is always to do a daily pull, and it doesn't have to be 7 days a week, but I would say a daily pull. And you can go in order like I'm doing with this series, or you can shuffle and pull cards randomly, which I find actually to be very enlightening. But however you do that, I would say study the card, meditate on it a little bit, carry it with you throughout the day, even if it's just snapping a picture on your phone if you can't bring it to work or wherever you go throughout the day. And just kind of study on that card. And I would even suggest don't look at the little booklet, don't Google it, just hold on to it, look at it, see the colors, pictures, symbols, and make a meaning that means something to you. And I think that's the best way to learn tarot and to really begin to have a relationship with these cards so that you can grow into being able to do readings for yourself and others if that's something you want to pursue. Thank you so much for watching this video. I had a great time today. I enjoyed diving deeply into this card with you. If you liked this video, please hit like, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series. That is the tea from the tarot. Go out and live it.